It's one thing to go out and get your waiver wire claim to get the guy that you were targeting off the wire, but now you got the decision of, okay, so do I put this guy in my lineup? So I got some wiretaps here, guys that you might have got off the waiver wire, some guys who were going to be popular this week, and whether or not you should put them in your lineup. So let's start with Nahim Heinz. He was a guy that certainly a lot of people were going after the injury to Marlon Mack. He's got the Vikings ranked. Would you start Nahim Heinz maybe in the flex spot this week?
I would believe that you are, mostly because the matchup against the Minnesota Vikings is pretty good. You know, we were talking about bands all throughout the show, and the Vikings are like that band that you probably had to pay top dollar to see back in 1999, and now they're playing at the OC Fair for free, and nobody cares. They're just walking past like, didn't you guys used to be Smash Mouth or whatever it is? And so I think that now, and if it's not starting this week, eventually you're going to have to start looking at Vikings defense and being like, oh, these are must-start guys against them. So I would get Nahim Heinz in there.
That's like the time I saw Hoobastank at a barbecue and beer festival in Chandler, Arizona. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm starting Nahim Heinz this week. I just think the pass-catching prowess is something that's hard to pass up. Chances are you lost a running back or you have somebody who disappointed you, and the chance of him getting another 8 to 10 targets is a little bit too tempting for me, so I would start Heinz. Malcolm Brown, we talked about him, and I know that you have him in a number of spots. He's got the Eagles this week. This feels like another guy that if you got him, you're putting him in your lineup in week 2.
Yeah, I really do believe so. I don't believe the Eagles were giving up a lot of overall yards and whatnot to the rushing attack, but we saw last week, Peyton Barber fell into the end zone twice for a pair of scores. I think he averaged 1.7 yards per carry, which I guess was an improvement on what Saquon Barkley was doing. But I do believe that the usage makes it so that Malcolm Brown is somebody that you're going to start this week. And again, I'm hoping that they're going to start leveling out and getting some throwing touchdowns mixed in there. But again, the usage just lends itself to Malcolm Brown being your starter.
I would also say that with Washington last week, they fell behind big. It was like 17-0 in the blink of an eye. And so they had to throw the football, and I'm sure that changed their game script. I don't think the Rams are going to fall behind by a significant margin this week. So maybe they can run the football a little bit more. Last one, we talked about Robbie Anderson a couple of times in this show. He's got the Buccaneers, but it looks like he's going to be a big part of that Carolina passing game. So if you got Robbie Anderson, do you plug him in this week?
Actually, the matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is pretty tough. I mean, even going back to last year, and this was something that we talked about on NFL Fantasy Live last season, was the Buccaneers have not allowed a quarterback to throw for more than 300 passing yards since, I believe, week 11 of last season. It's significant. It's been a long time. They really started to shut teams down, and we really started to see the results of the defense that Todd Bowles was putting in there. So I don't believe that this is going to be a great start for anybody. I'm even apprehensive about starting DJ Moore, but because I put so much draft capital in him, I'm probably going to have to end up starting him here or there. So Robbie Anderson, I do believe, is going to be a useful piece for you moving forward. I'm just not sure it's going to happen this week.
I do see a situation where maybe you lost Michael Thomas for a few weeks and you're needing somebody to fill that spot. So maybe you start Robbie Anderson. I still hold to the belief that this Buccaneers defense isn't bad. They were put in bad situations last year by Jameis Winston. They got put in some bad situations last week between Tom Brady and some special teams mistakes. And so that hurt them. But on its own, in a vacuum, this is not a terrible defense. And they did a good job, I think, for the most part, shutting down or slowing down the Saints passing game. So I'm sort of with you there, but I do understand a scenario where you might have to start Robbie Anderson this week. And I get it. No judgment. This is a judgment-free zone here on this show.
Yeah, for sure.